Because I don't know if it's recording right now or what. I started to record.
Do we need to shut this door? Yes. Preferably. Okay.
I'm ready when you are.
You ready?
Yeah. Go.
I've gone to some of this as well.
Okay, today we have Ellie Mannette here, and first what I'd like to do is introduce Kathy George, Ellie's business manager, and then Ellie will talk to you about the evolution of the steel drums. Kathy?
Thank you, Marta. Yes, I'm Ellie's business manager. Mostly what I do, though, is I facilitate his work across the country and his interest in spreading his legacy and his dream of the art form becoming a larger, well-known and well-respected across the world. That's my main job, and I'm happy to be here today to participate in this program with you. Martin and I have been talking about this for the last couple of weeks as to exactly what you guys were looking for. So the main thing that I'm here to do is just to facilitate what it is that you're interested in taking and getting from Ellie, this project that you're doing. And it's obvious that you guys have a knowledge and a respect for who he is and what the art form is just by virtue of your wanting to do a project like this. This is really exciting, and anything that we can do as a company. Ellie has a company of young people that he's training, the Mannette steel drums. Anything that I can do as far as knowing a lot about his history and his development in this art form to help you with this project, we're here for that. So what we're going to do today is the questions that you sent in largely appear to sort of fall into certain categories, and so by him answering those questions, we hope that you'll be able to get at much of what his history is. You've asked some, I think, some really good questions, things that he may not have necessarily thought about, but in thinking about them and answering them, you're going to get a sense of what the history and the development of the instrument is. I usually, when we talk at places, give a brief description of, the awards that Ellie's had and what he means to the world. And I don't probably need to do that at this junction, because anything that you guys want to add to the video afterwards, that is, bio of his work, is something that we can provide for you. So what we're going to do right now is actually just I'm going to turn it over to Ellie, largely because what this means is that you're getting the history, you're getting the information straight from the horse's mouth. You're getting somebody who experienced history, if you don't always have that opportunity to be in the presence of a creator. And so this is a wonderful opportunity that you guys are documenting. And what we're going to do is take the questions. They're divided up into certain categories, and we'll just kind of move from category to category. And then Ellie will then talk about each of the various instruments. And as he goes from instrument to instrument, telling you what its purpose was, how it evolved. And then eventually, we're going to have some of you come up, and he's going to show you what was played on the instrument and to get you to actually play the drum. Now, it may not be perfect. That's not the purpose of this. The purpose of this is for you to get this information from Ellie, showing him, telling you what it is, and of course, you'll have plenty of opportunity to rehearse it and to get better at it. But what we want to do now is just sort of document him showing you what each instrument served as, and give you an opportunity to actually play it. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Ellie Mannette.
Can I stop there just a second? Can we move you back, just because of the lighting? You might move you back in the light just a little bit. We want you in the spotlight, Ellen. Is that better, guys? Just pick up on the tape from there.
Okay, kids, I have to call you kids because you're right on my kids. It's a pleasure to be here. It's a warm welcome. I saw my name on the billboard outside. I said, look at this, I can't read. I often travel across the country from college to college, academy to academy, and at times I see my name across the highway sometimes, Ellie Mannette, welcome to North Dakota or something like that. So it's wonderful to see my name out there. I appreciate it. You recognize my work and the person I am for what I have done for the art form, Steelbound art form, and I'm very happy to be here. Now, telling you a little of myself, I was born on the island of Trinidad. We are just a small nation, about 1.5 million people. We are stand about 7 miles off of the mainland of South America, Venezuela. We are a diverse community of several ethnic backgrounds. My mother was Spanish, my father was black. We have Chinese and whites and Portuguese and everybody interwove marriage in Trinidad. So it's a really nice nation to come to visit. The people is warm, food is good, the temperature is good, the talent is good. We have developed the steel drum, the limbo, the calypso, the husse, a lot of different things I might call that you don't know about the tropical island. And we have some tropical plants and fruits that you never saw before. And you will wonder what it is, can I eat this or not? But you come to the island, you will see what I'm talking about. We are surrounded by 4 bodies of water. On the east coast is the Atlantic, and the south of the nation is the Gulf of Korea. And to the north is the Caribbean, and to the south is the Columbus Channel. And as I said, we have just 1.5 million people. The acre, the square mile is just about Rhode Island, maybe even smaller than Rhode Island, about 1,080 square miles. But among that nation, it's such a small population, we have great talent. The steel drum was developed here. Don't let anyone say anything differently to you. The steel drum was developed in the island of Trinidad, not Jamaica, not Barbados, no other island of the United States. It was developed in the island of Trinidad. It came about very humble, in a very humble way, as you see here today. And as my lecture, I will tell you all how it was done. But it was done on the island of Trinidad. So be sure about what I say to you. I was a part of the very beginning, and still is today in its advanced stages. I don't know where I'm going to take it, but I'm going to put it in the hands of young people like you. With all the knowledge I'm passing on, you will take my ideas and my work, and you will develop for the future for this instrument. And no one can tell where it's going from here. I could not tell where it was going from 1946. I could not. But today we hear 203, and in the year 215 or 220, 25, the whole concept might change. So the kids, I'm happy to be here, and I want to take as many of your questions as possible, try to paint a picture for you to understand how the instrument was developed in a very authentic way. I did the first one. No disputing of the fact. I sung the first one. I rapped the first text. I did everything first in the art form. And I'll say to you in the lectures how they came about. We have 10 different instruments today, 10. And Ellie Mannette developed 7 of them. As Kathy said, creation is something from within. You don't learn creation and you don't buy creation. The ideas come to mind, and how it is done from hand and mind, transposition of hand and mind, I cannot tell you how it's done. Your mind is involved at all times, and you see a picture that other people don't really see. And when you point it out to them, they might criticize, but I'd say in my lecture, they will criticize, but you endeavor to what you're seeing and hearing, and ultimately the drum is done to what we have to do. So now, let us
Okay, we'll start with the questions, the list of questions that you asked. The area that was
speak a
really
little louder,
interesting
please.
was the emotional issues that influenced Ellie to create this. When you think about this instrument being the last musical creation in the last 150 years, that's not an easy feat to take place. So there's a lot of emotional things that went on during its development. So let's start with the first person over here who's got a question that was based on the emotion of, go ahead. And speak up, you can speak slowly and speak loud.
Did you ever get frustrated or angry at yourself or the drum as you?
Yeah, I got angry. It was very many instances where I wanted to give it up completely because I was fumbling in the dark for ideas, and I got emotional to the point that I struggled into some barrel, and I would take a hatchet, you know, where I chop the wood with, and I split the drum open and throw it aside. And I said, I'm done, I don't want to shoot anymore. And 2 days after I get haunted, I said, no, I got to get back into this. So I would go look for another drum and start all over again. So I did that on many occasions. Many occasions I said, I'm through. Because I'm so upset. And not only being upset, not figuring out what you're doing. I would say later on, I was being harassed by the public. Neighbors, friends, the police, family. No one wanted me to bang the steel drum in their backyard because it really, at the time, was a perfect nuisance to the people. It was no music coming from them. So that frustration of not knowing what you were doing, fumbling to get something done, or to mind what ideas you have in mind, you still couldn't produce it. And the neighbors condemning you in every sense of the way, so it really was kind of traumatic for me as a young boy. Especially, you know, I grew up now, I can take a lot mentally, and, you know. But as a kid, I was just about 11 years, and at the time, when you get in this kind of harassment, you know, as kids, they wouldn't be able to stand as much as the older guy. So that kind of behind me.
All right, is there another question?
Were you always interested in music?
Yeah, I like, from the time I was a kid, 11 years, before that for that matter, and I have very, very vivid memory of myself from 7 and 8 years old. People always say to me across the country, I think miles, I know it. I have a very photographic memory that I see something one time and I remember it all my life. And all of the incidents that took place during my early days of 7 and 8 and 9, I remember it very, very clearly as I speak to you, and I see myself as a kid at 10 years old. And I lay in my bed at night, listen to music a lot, because we were ruled by the British at the time, British England. And all at the time, today it's a lot of different types of music, you know, rap and salsa and whatever. But during my early days, there was only classical music. Chopin and Brahms and Beethoven and Mendelssohn and Bizet and all these great masters playing over the radio all day. So I would lay in my bed as a kid, and the radio plays. There was a small radio at the time, not much. But I listened to it all the time, it's classical music. And the more I listened to the classical music, little by little, as I get a little older, and I got into the art form, I always, as I say, my dream was, how do I develop that symphony orchestra that is playing night after night on my head? How should I develop that orchestra from steel drum? So the music that I love is classical, and I loved it up to this day, and that's all I play. I hardly play anything but classical music all the time. And I'm very interested in music. And I'll say later in my lecture when I had a music scholarship, and I'll tell you what happened there. And that's what I question.
I think we have
Always interested in music.
We've got some more questions about your emotions. Go ahead.
Okay, so when you first started making the steel drums, did you think they would catch on like they did?
No, not at all. For that matter, when I got into it, it was trash. Like real trash can, like bins that you see on the side of the street with trash in it. And we were very miserable young boys. We would throw the trash off and run away with the bin. And that was one of the things that really caused the public to be up against us, because you might put your trash down over by the street for the garbage truck to pick up. And we could not find barrels accessible at the time. So what we'll do, we'll walk around at night and see where the trash cans are. And we will just throw the trash out of the pavement and run over the can. Dirty as it is, we put it on and begin to bang on it. So the steel drum was born in that very humble way, you know, plain trash. And I cannot say exactly how we move from the trash to what we have. But as you mentioned, I always like to play the trash cans and create the music that I create from them.
What made you proceed when you wanted to quit?
I cannot say what made me proceed. I just a desire that I had in mind. I like rhythm. I like the rhythm of, I heard all the boys play, you know, and different type of music, drums and congas and whatnot. And I like the rhythm drive of that kind of a thing. And many a time I wanted to quit, but that drive of that rhythm that kept me going. And I want to get out of it, but I find myself getting back in it because I want to play, I'm forced into the rhythm that I mentioned to you, the conga and the drum beat and whatever. So my desire was to continue the rhythm and that developed into more musical ideas,
Do we have any other questions?
What is your favorite type of music?
What other type of music I like?
What's your favorite type? What's your favorite type of music?
My favorite type, classical music, as I say, and bossa novas. I love bossa novas. I have 10,000 copies of bossa novas from every imaginary composer, Joe Bonfire, Milis, Getz, Galboto, all the different great bossa novas I mastered. I have the record. So I love music. I love the bossa nova. First of my choice is classical music. First choice. Strangely enough, I'm from the island of Trinidad, but I don't enjoy calypso. I never own a calypso record. And people will give me calypso records everywhere, and I will give everywhere that I go, people will give me calypso records. Listen to it, listen to it. And I'll have a pile of them, and I'll give them shelves, boxes of records that I give them that I never listened to, strangely enough. I'm from the island of Trinidad, the land of the calypso. And I don't play calypso, and I don't enjoy calypso. I don't know why. I like it as classical music, and I like it bossa nova. And I enjoy what you call ballad type, vocals, the nice ballad type, and Streisand and Celine Dion, that kind of music, nice ballad type. And that's about what I like.
Well, I think,
Why didn't you go to college?
I developed the first drum in 1946. From the trash, it began to get into prominence. Of 1946, I got the first melody line. In 1947, I did the second. 1948, I did the third. So the nation realized that all the nuisance I was creating, I began to form a musical instrument for the nation. Ellie Mannette is developing an instrument for the nation. So 1949, the governor of the island, his name was Sir Hubert Rand, knighted by the Queen of England. He sent a note to me to come to the governor's mansion and wanted to offer me a scholarship. So I went to the mansion, and the governor of the island says, Ellie Mannette, I'm Hubert Rand, Governor Hubert Rand. I shook his hand, and he said it was recommended to me that you should be offered a scholarship because you have developed a musical instrument for our nation. And do you know any music? I said, no, I have never gone to school for music. I just in high school, just get through high school. Just about to get through high school. And that's about it. He said, would you like to study music? I said, of course, I would like to. So he said, well, we're going to offer you a scholarship to go to London to study. But of course, you have to get prepared for that, So I went to London in 1950. I investigated the scholarship at the university, and it's an open scholarship, Ellie Mannette, start, whatever. The requirements to enter the college should be whatever. So I looked at everything, and I said to my friends there in London, I don't want this scholarship. I want to develop the band. And they said, you got to be crazy, because I'm a poor boy, my family's poor, my father just a carpenter, my mother's a housewife. And to be offered a scholarship to study in London, and to give it up to come back and put in trash can is being crazy about it. Nobody would think about doing something like that, but for some reason, I had in mind that if I stayed in London to get a master's degree or doctorate or whatever, PhD or whatever, as a young man I was thinking always ahead. It might take me 6, 8, 10 years in college to get what that high level is. And in the process of doing that, getting that education, the whole idea of the steel drum which I had in mind, embedded in my mind from 11 to that year of 21 or 22, whatever it was. From 11 to 22, steel drum was so involved, so engulfed in my mind, that in England I said, if I take this scholarship, I'm going to forget everything that I am planning for the art form. And I called my friends, I wrote my dad, and said, I'm sorry, Dad, that I'm not going to accept this scholarship. I want to come home. And because I just don't want it, I want to develop the steel drum. And I say to you guys, And I say this to colleges all across this nation. I work for hundreds of college programs, all the major universities of the United States. And I would say to all of you, finish your education. Don't take a chance with Ellie Mannette. Because Ellie Mannette took a chance with his life, gave up his scholarship, come back home to nothing. And I worked extremely hard. I was determined to give up a scholarship and to come home to fail. It would be really a disaster for me. So I said, I am a young man, 22 years old, and I'm back from England. I'm going to make sure that this idea that I had in my mind would work. So I was, from 1951 to 52, when I came home, I started to expand the art form. Double seconds in 52, double guitars in 54, cellos in 56, and it began to grow in my mind. And more and more ideas began to pop in my mind. So giving up the scholarship is because of the desire of developing this theater. And I wouldn't say that I would not have done well with my scholarship, but I feel better doing what I do. You know why? There is no teacher in the United States today, no one teacher, no professor, no doctor, reaches the lives, or touches the lives of more young people than Ellie Mannette. I work for 1,000 programs across the United States, tens of thousands, if not millions, of kids like you all, from Brigham Young to North Texas State to Georgia State to Wichita State. And I go into a university and I hold big audience and a standing ovation, Ellie Mannette. And I please the young people more than if I was teaching in the classroom today. You understand? I might have been teaching as a doctor in high school or college. I might have been comfortable in my job, but I don't know if I'll be happy in my job. And my happiness is what the drums. And due to the happiness of the drums, I did it well. When you're happy with what you do, it's a joy instead of the art itself. And the joy comes out in what you do. So I have developed the instrument from sheer desire, not taking the scholarship. And the music that I was given as a scholarship, I gave it up. So that's about it.
Okay, I think what the area of the questions you asked about his emotional state really talks or speaks to the passion that he had to have to develop this instrument. And I'm around Ellie 24/7, and the passion that he had as a young man working on these little drums is still the passion that I see him have today. It's truly remarkable. The other section of questions that you've talked about are the influences from other people. And I think that's where he developed a lot of his determination, was actually by sort of fighting through some of the issues that other people presented to him in developing this instrument. So I think we've got with you, go ahead.
Are you still in touch with members of the Oval Boys?
Yeah, I was a member of the Oval Boys, and we called it Oval Boys because in this country you play football or you play baseball. In Trinidad, where I came from, we play soccer and we play cricket. You know, cricket and soccer is, of course. So right across, well, my yard was here, and right across the street, the Strawberry Road, right across the highway was the big pavilion where they play all these games, all tennis and soccer, football, every big imaginable sport event takes place in that arena. So we live right across the street from that arena, and we call it the Oval. So when I was a kid, I played tennis. You know, the ball that run across the court to throw the ball back. I played tennis. And when the guys kick the cricket ball way over the outside of the field, we run and get the ball and throw the balls back. So we feel a lot of the different games as boys, you know, kids 8 or 10 and a year. We feel for the sportsmen, you know. And as a result of that, we call ourselves the Oval Boys, because all of us were that whole bunch of kids right there. They were living around the neighborhood, and we feel cricket and tennis in it. You know what cricket, the boys are going to cross the court and throw the balls back. I was one of those kids. And as a result of that, we call ourselves the Oval Boys. And that's how the name came about, Oval Boys. And it went on for many years, and up to about 1940, it was from the middle 30s, early 30s, I was 8 or 9, into about 1940, 41, and we changed the name to Invaders. Due to the war that took place in Europe, we'll talk about that. Due to the war that took place in Europe, the Second World War, invaders of France and invaders of different places, we call it the Invaders thing. and left the open boys for the invaded again. Open boys.
And I think Ellie had mentioned too, because the question was actually, are you still in touch with them? You mentioned to me
So she
earlier
did
about.
not, did she?
Yes, she was asking if you were, as well as what you said. But I know you mentioned
Oh,
some of
yeah.
the guys live in New York and different
Yeah.
parts of the country.
Yeah, so many boys from the open boys, they all grew up at my age. These kids right here, I was 14 years there, and all the kids were around that age, and they all grew up, once we grew time passes, we grew up, get older, and they all around New York City, Atlanta, Georgia, Florida, New Orleans, Houston, Baltimore, Buffalo, New York. So from time to time, I would get in touch with them. Kathy and I would go around working, and whenever we in one of the areas like Houston, a couple of nights ago, we were working at a college in Houston, and some of the boys knew that I was there in college, and they came over. And then we went and we socialized in their yard for many hours, stayed with them for quite a while. And that happens all across the country, where the Trinidadians are my old friends from the Caribbean. They came to this country, most of them, and they have, settled in different cities, and I will meet them from time to time. I keep in touch with them. We are still friends, but
Okay, do you have another question? No. Is there someone else who, go ahead.
What did your friends think about your invention?
What?
What did your friends think about your invention?
Oh, that was bad. My friends, when I told them that I was about to make the first drum, first and foremost, they said it couldn't be done. The first thing they said it couldn't be done. And they criticized it, because we were playing trash can. And this is not an invention. This is something came about and we tried to develop with it. The invention started when I made the first 55-gallon drum into a musical instrument. The invention started there, because it really began to get musical notes in a proper form. And when I told them I was going to build the first 55-gallon drum, oh, it can't be done, you're wasting time, find something else to do, and leave it alone. So what I did, I hid away in the same oval that I spoke about. What do you call it, bleachers right around it. People sit in the outfield, a cheaper area than you pay to go into the sport arena. Now the big pavilion itself was way out in the bleachers. There's a big tree there called a salmon tree, and a big umbrella. And I go to the back of the bleachers, and I went under that salmon tree every day, every afternoon from school. And I will beat on one of the 55-gallon drum, a little at a time, hide it away under the stand, and go back to work. And come back next afternoon, do a little bit again, and come back. And I was doing it in secret. Nobody knew I was doing it. And there was a show, Scouting for Talent. And everybody went on Scouting for Talent, showed up with the little petty drums, like what we have here. And I showed up with the big drum for the first time. And the nation saw, the people at that arena saw the big 55-gallon drum for the first time. Contestant number 7, Ellie Mannette. So I walk up on stage, contestant number 7, Scouting for Talent. I walk up on stage with a drum in a bag, a brown bag. And I sat on a chair like this, and I put the drum on one knee, and I put it in one hand. And the whole nation, everybody in the crowd started screaming, yeah. Now, the people in the audience enjoyed it. But the friends who was criticizing me about building this first big drum, they took it very coolly and calmly. They look at it with a lot of sarcasm, where big beat, in a kind of way that they really didn't. I felt it was a kind of jealousy that what I have done surprised everybody. They did not acknowledge my accomplishment. They tried to criticize me by showing contempt and kind of hostile way towards me for what I have done. So that was about it. The appreciation. Never did. My family, no one at all really appreciated me in my surrounding neighborhood for what I have done, because as I mentioned, I was creating a lot of nuisance with it. When I did bring out a big drum, there's still nuisance as far as the public was considered. The people who listened to me at the concert, they enjoyed it a lot. But after quite a while of playing with the big drum, the knowledge of the big drum began to spread around. And people say, well, it's not the big nuisance anymore. The drum is making sense now. So they started. First thing they did, they called me to play on Radio Trinidad for the nation to get a drum for the first time. So I went to a Sunday morning church program, and I play the Ave Maria, Schubert's, and I play a part of the Schubert's Ave Maria, and the nation wrote the drum for the first time. And the whole trend of criticizing Ellie Mannette, everything began to gradually turn into my favorite, a favoritism towards me. And that was what happened to the drum of my friend.
Okay, maybe next.
Did you get much support from your country?
From the country? No, not at all. The country made it, that's a good question in a lot of ways. Because I was so bitter with my country for the hassle and the difficulty they have given to me. I think they have said about me. That when I accomplished what I set out to accomplish in Trinidad, I developed the art form. And whenever they say anything to me, the government might say something to me, I would say, it is not your art form, it's mine. I developed this picture. I was kind of arrogant in my I can always speak to some of the government people because due to the hard time that they gave me. Because what they did was very difficult for me. Although I developed a full strum, a musical instrument, 55-gallon drum, and it began to play melody that is reasonably good. They denied me of getting any barrel to work with. I could not get a barrel from Shell Oil, or British Petroleum, or Exxon, Esso at the time, or none of the companies will sell you a barrel. So what we have to do, we have to steal the drum. We have to climb fences at night and steal drum, and the dogs and the police and the neighborhood will chase you away. And what saved me really was the United States Navy. The United States Navy had a big base on Chaguaramas, a part of Trinidad, where there were Navy ships coming in for repair. And they piled up tens of thousands of drums in a big arena with a big fence to service the big ships, aircraft carriers and whatnot. And from the abundance of drums in the Navy yard, I would go there late at night and climb the fences and steal the drums from the Navy and run away with them. And that was quite a story in itself. But the government never supported me with the drum. No one, absolutely no one in the government, as ministries or whatnot, will say Ellie Mannette reserve, given the abundance of steel drums so he can develop and know. So I had a hard time with my friends, family, and the government as well. So I don't know what drove me on to do what I did. There was no money. I wasn't getting paid for anything. I hardly had a place to live because when I came back from England, I gave up the scholarship. My family threw me out because they did not want me there because the family had no ambition. I gave up a scholarship to come home and put on trash can. So the things that are said to me, I had to leave the house. And then I had no job, and I had hardly any place to live. So this was kind of rough time for me. So the government, I have to say, gave me a hard time.
Another question?
What did you think when you first introduced the steel drum?
What did you think when you first introduced the steel drum? Or what did people think?
What did you think?
Oh, well, that was part of the story. When I first introduced it at the fair, as I mentioned a while ago, it was well received by the people in the audience because they look, it's a musical concert and everybody's looking for whatever is playing the music the best way they can, that people will enjoy it. So when I bought a 55-gallon drum, the public, there was about 300, 400, 500 people. They just jumped for joy that Ellie Mannette did something wonderful. But the general public at the time, or all the people that was criticizing me for my nuisance, they did not take it very warmly. It took quite a bit of time for them to accept it, quite a long time. And they started to accept it when I designed the second and the third drum. Then they really began to accept it. Because I did the first one, something like what we have here today, playing a simple melody. And it was not making much sense because all was played with that at the time was just a one note on a bass. One note on a bass. So what kind of music can you really play with one note on a bass and playing some melody? So it still was not very well accepted, except for the Carnival season. And then as I developed the second one, which was the second round, the single second to go with the first one, they looked at it a little bit more positively as something that began to take shape. And then I developed the third one, the guitar to go with the second to go with the lead. And as a result of those three instruments came in, that's how I got this college. That happened in the first one in 1946, no exception by the public. second one was in 47, the third one was in 48. So as it began to gradually blossom, the government of the nation heard about this. And they said, okay, well, I need to really, with all the struggle and all our obstacles in his way, the red tapes and the girders and the roadblock, he's still moving ahead. For some reason, he's moving ahead with the instrument. So let's give him a scholarship. That's how it happened in 49. But the public at first was very cool. Strangely enough, I say in my lectures from time to time, Trinidad government has a love-hate relation with the steel band. They will enjoy the steel band immensely when come to Carnival. They'll jump behind the band, 200 people playing, and they will jump and parade and enjoy themselves. And as soon as Carnival is finished, they turn it back on the drum. Every order, especially the socialites, I call them the so-called socialites, especially those folks, they will just turn their back on the steel drum guys, and they don't want to see the drum, they don't want to hear the drum. If you go to Trinidad, things have changed now. If you go to Trinidad, you can hardly get a steel band playing in any function. There's always a DJ or some other orchestra, no steel band music. And they just enjoy for Carnival and nothing else. So I say you have a love-hate relation for the band. You love it for Carnival, but right after Carnival, you hate it. So and I always say that to the people, chastise them for it. But anyway, things have begun to change now in the islands and everywhere else.
Okay. Any other questions about how other people?
What did your parents think about your ideas?
Speak a little louder.
What did your parents think about your ideas?
Parents? Well, my mother was never, I did not say anything negative about her, but she was never really interested in the drum. She, in fact, did not want me to be the drum at all, because at the time when the drum was being developed, it was a bad time for the panboy. They fight for no reason. Jealousy for some reason, or maybe over some girl or some nonsense. Somebody have too many girlfriends, or somebody else playing a better rhythm than the other guy. This kind of nonsense. They have a big fight among two big bands and wounding each other seriously. And as a result of that, my family, well, we were living in a little bit more of the aristocratic area of my family. They were not in the real downtrodden area, of course. No, we live in the real affluent neighborhood. All the lawyers and the doctors and all the people in business in that one area. My family was right there. So my parents did not want me to be in the pan because they just felt it was degrading at the time. It was, the nuisance to the public, and you being called a vagabond. Whether you're a vagabond or not, if you're what we call the pan boys, you're just a bunch of vagabonds. They're wayward boys. They just created a nuisance, and they're not, they call us a lot of names at the time. So my family really didn't want me to be that. So my mom never showed any interest in that. She showed interest in me as a person, as a young boy. My family was 9, and she, for some reason, she took me out of the 9. And to go to school, she had me as sharp could be, clean cut, shades of this every day, clean, well groomed. And for some reason they said, why come your mom always single you out of the other? You have 8 kids. And she treated me very well, but she was not interested in the steel drum. But my dad was. And he also was a pain sometimes because we wanted to practice. And he would walk into the panel and say, it's time to stop. And then we would be practicing, enjoying ourselves and just trying to learn something. And then he'd walk and stand there like this. I said, get the drums out of here, it's time to get out. Like that. That was when I get really mad with him. But it's his out at the time. So we just got to abide with what he said. So my dad had a little bit of interest in it. My sisters have no interest. Strangely enough, kids. I had 4 kids in my life, and none of them ever played steel drum. That's the most ridiculous thing to think about. People say, your kids ever play drum? I say they never had any interest in drum. And I do think it's from the family upbringing. Because my family, as I said, they were kind of a little aristocratic bunch. And they always felt that they didn't want me to be the parent. And therefore, when I grew up, when I had my kids, my family, I think, influenced the kids to some extent, I have to say. Because I was not one of the kids, as young men, stayed home a lot with my kids. I always in the pan, putting around the country, around the world for that matter. And my kids are left with my wife. And I do think from the influence of my family and some of the group like that, the kids never play the drum. Never. And they so when people say that, they just cannot believe you are the person that created the instrument. You are the most known figurehead in the art form today around the world. And your kids don't play the drum? Say, no, nobody play. So that's one of those things, I don't know. But I'm learning about that.
Was there anyone who kept you motivated when you got stressed?
Was there anybody that kept you motivated when you got stressed?
Yeah, there were. I was driven by one gentleman by the name of Lennox Spear. He's one person in the government, one guy, that realized I was doing something that would have made sense in the future. He was an accomplished musician, he was a violinist. And he played concert theaters and really great music. And also being a violinist, he was also a lawyer. And every so often, he will come to me in my yard and he say, what are you trying to do, Ellie? I say, I'm trying to create a new instrument. And he said, what are you going to call it? I said, I don't know yet. And he'd give me ideas and talk to me in a positive way about what I am doing might be beneficial in the future for this instrument that is looking so crude right now, but it might be beneficial. And he started, and sometimes I wanted to play in a competition, and he will guide me along what I should play, and some of the arrangements of the song will help me with. So I was really influenced a lot by Lennox Spear. I was the only person. And of course, when everything grew and blossomed, today, I'm influenced by other major people, other than Lennox Spear, who was from the very beginning, where I developed into what I am today. I was then influenced by one gentleman that arranged with a great band called Glenn Miller. You probably know about that name, Glenn Miller, and another great band called Tommy Dawson. And I met a musician from that caliber of musician, and he took me under his wings, and he said to me, I will point out to you what you should do to make your craft better. And he explained to me a lot of harmonics and temperament and overtones that I really didn't know at the time when I met him about 35 years ago, and I was not as good as I am today. So he had guided me, and he took me to his house, and he conducted the Boston Symphony without a fiddle, and he conducted the Portland Symphony, and he's a real great musician, and he took me to his house every day and guided me into harmonic and temperament, giving me a charge as to how to follow them and to understand them. So I give a lot of credit to Miss Jimmy Lady and also Lennox Spear for what Ellie Mannette is doing.
All right, any other?
Okay. Now, we went through some of how the instrument was developed. I mentioned some of my experiences. Some was traumatic, as I mentioned, some was good. However the time was at the time, how difficult it was, whatever roadblocks and hurdles I encountered, I endeavored to create an instrument that we have today. As Kathy said, you don't have to be in the presence of creators very often. I don't give myself any credit for creator. All I do is I develop an instrument for the nation that I came from, Trinidad, and for the world to enjoy. I never look at it as any special anything. I just had a natural gift to see and to hear things that the average guy wasn't seeing and hearing, and I tried to interpret what I heard in my mind and transpose it into my hands, and to develop the craft that I can do what I did. And it took me 50 years of trial and error, 50 years. I made the first instrument in 1946, and I created the last instrument in 1996. So that's 50 years of creation, trial and error. And no one knows where it's going to go from here. Today we play some beautiful instruments out in the streets. I mean, in pubs and carnival and for different concerts and whatever. It just didn't happen by guess. It happened from what you see here. It happened from what you see here, ladies and gentlemen. This is myself, Ellie Mannette, right here, at 14 years old, playing trash can in my father's backyard. This is my picture here at 14 years old, playing trash can. And everyone will ask me, how did you arrive to move from this to what we have today? And there was no way that I could envision seeing what we have today when I was doing this here. I was here creating a nuisance and enjoying myself with rhythmic patterns, but you could not see the picture any further than this at the time. Your mindset was just to create rhythm, was not creating an instrument that we have, it was only rhythm. We never thought in terms of creating an instrument. However, by this doing here, accidents begin to happen. And someone would dent a note with a boom handle, and you might hear a note, you might hear a pitch play, like pam, pam, pam. You might dent it again and get another note. And by this kind of an accident, there was one gentleman by the name of Spree Simon, Winston, it was alleged, in fact, I always say this way because I wasn't there at the time, but I heard this. This guy by the name of Spree Simon dent on a beach drum to the boom handle, like boom, 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 4 times. And he got 4 consecutive notes, like bam, 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 bam. So he played there, we had a little he began to play on those little What happened at the time was the drums were pushed from the inside. These drums here, they all push from the inside up. So this face that we have that is sunk into a concave, this face was up like this at one time. Way back in the late 30s and early 40s, these were up in a convex. And the guys would put the drums under their arm like this with a strap, and they would dent it like this. And then the holes on the top. And by playing those holes, and a lot of little notes playing, but this guy, as I said, made 4 consecutive notes, and I just heard it about it, and I kind of was concerned because they would say, oh, Spree Simon is playing 4 notes on his drum. And I couldn't get 4 consecutive notes. I can get a bunch of notes, but nothing playing it so in progression with each other. So then I went to a fair, and I got onto the fair in a place called Cabinet, and I saw another young man playing also 4 notes on his drum. So I was kind of going crazy now, because this guy in the part of the upper part of Spain is playing 4 notes, and the guy from lower part of Spain is playing 4 notes. I'm in the middle part of Spain, and I cannot do it. So what I decided I'm going to do, I'm going to put the drum in a concave. So now you had a convex, and you had dents into the convex. There's pockets. So I decided I'm going to put a concave and put the bumps up. So by putting the bumps up from the concave, then I could tap the bumps up and down and move the notes. So that's what I did in 1941. It's recorded in the archives of Trinidad and Tobago. Ellie Mannette sung the first drum into a concave in 1941. I put it into the basin, and I put the bumps up, and I could tune the bumps. As a result of that, I had more control on tuning the notes. So therefore, I started from, at first, I wanted to go 1 note at a time. We call it, and we had some really silly names for the instrument. We had names like Fule and Billy and Dudup and Boom, all the kind of silly names that we had for the instrument at the time. The first one, we started with the punctuation of the rhythm. It was band like a conga you might have today. The congo, like that. That goes on all day. And along with this now, along with that, you will have what you call a biscuit drum, where you have crackers inside of it, like you have sardine crackers in boxes. In the island, we have them in a barrel. You can see it in the picture. You can see it in the picture right there. One of the guys is sitting on top of the biscuit drum with a hole in the middle, and he playing with his hand. And at the time, the biscuit drum was exactly like recreated. It was exactly like this, where you put your hand and get the crackers out. But the drum, this is the steel drum that we just cut down to recreate this. But the guys will sit on the drum like this. If you notice there, he's sitting on the barrel, he sits on the barrel like that. Sorry, I want to fall over. Like this, and he play. That. That was the bass. And the gun. That's that. Two rhythm going. But now, and then for carnival, they will take some big towels and wrap their hands up like this. Make some big pads so the hand will hit boom like this. So what I brought for you guys is a stick so you don't beat your hands up. I brought a, now when you wrap your hands with a big towel, it will sound soft, like something like this. Because your hand becomes a kind of a rubber ball. But right now I'm just playing like this for you, some dry. But if you wrap your hand with a towel, it gets soft like a stick. Anyway, so we have one rhythm with a boom, they call it boom, the bass kettle, I'm sorry, the doo-doo, doo-doo. Then we create another voice we call the bass kettle. The bass kettle, now we have one voice going boom. We have the downbeat on the bass and the downbeat here, and this one go like this. So you have three voices here, and you have one only here, this going. There are three of them. There are three of them going. Then to accompaniment that, we create one. Let's create what we call the kettle drum. And we have three of them, where you have the downbeat and the boom. Downbeat and bass drum, we have a beat. Then this one, we get a contrary beat, what you call a contrary beat. And it goes like that. Sorry. It goes something like this. Then I'm going to bring you guys up and shake a little bit. See if you can do the whole rhythm pattern. So the boom, the bass kettle, the doo, and then the kettle drum. So just imagine, you have 20 guys in a band, out of 30 guys, and carry on with this all day. So you can imagine the nuisance it's putting in the public. They're really, really, really nuisance. But however, by so doing, then then, this was rhythm patterns only. We had no melody going at the time. Just rhythm like boom, boom. And then the melody began to appear by having three notes on the drum. As the melody began to appear, like in 1940, 3840. Then three notes that is making some sense. Then after that era, this one came in. This one began to play a little bit more melody. Okay, this one. There's a kind of a scale. That began to come in. And this went on from the middle 1930s, to about the middle 1940s, about 10 years it took to come from there to this point. And from this point on in 1946, the big band came in because this one, this is the first 55 gallon was ever built in the history of the art form, 1946. So we had all the booming carrying on, the bass kettle and the doo-doo and the ping pong. Then this one came in, which is a little bit, of course, skewed to what we have today, but very, like a place on air. A melody. And this was played, And of course, they would hold the drum at that time around the neck, like that. And they would buckle it up, and they hold it there, and they'd play. That's what I did to march the street. So now you can see how the art form begins to grow. It didn't happen that Ellie Mannette sit down one day and thought about creating that. No way. It started from right there. And it developed in a very humble way, one note at a time. And then ultimately we got that. Now, that was only now all rhythmic patterns and one melody. So what do we do for accompaniment? So in 1940, first one was in 1946. And in 1947, I decided that I want some patterns to play with this drum, so I'm going to create a lower voice for the second hand. And of course, I didn't exclude, but it's in the same size of that drum anyway, more in the light. This is the second band, if you notice. It looks almost sort of the same, like there's more notes on the outside and smaller. Sorry. This goes more on the bigger notes, so and you can hear it pitch different, it goes down, lower in tone. Okay. I can't play. Yeah. That's the second part. So now, we have now the melody, and we have a single second. All the bass at the time is one movement. For bass line, no other line, but this one note for bass. So okay, so we have a single second playing with a melody note. So then I said we wanted some more accompaniment. So what do we do? I decide now I'm going to create a bigger drum to call the guitar. With one guitar. Now we have three guitars. I create one drum to call the guitar. We hear the voice now, nothing. You know why I did it like this, kids, is because this will be authentic. Today, we have beautiful surgical tubing and latex and gum rubber and all kind of different things on the mallets to make it soft and cushion. But at the time, this was original. I'm the first person, it's also documented in the archives of Trinidad. Ellie Mannette was the first person to wrap the mallet with wooden mallet to make cushion on the plain sticks, because at the time all the nuisance we were creating with these drums were played with wooden sticks like that. So you hear more tap, tap, tap on the drums than anything else. And that was driving the public crazy, because we had no cushions on the sticks. We were playing with just raw wood. That picture there, if you look at the picture, you will see raw wooden sticks playing there on those barrels, and we didn't know any better. We didn't know, we weren't thinking about nuisance and all, we just enjoyed ourselves with the wooden mallets. And then how I created the inner tube was I felt that in my ear it was something a little too hard. So I took some of the tree limbs in Trinidad, I cut some limestone, and I used to take a hammer and pound the edges of the stick, pound it to try to get it a little bit more mushy. And I pounded it, and when you begin to play, the whole drum began to get, the stick began to fuzz all over the drum and make a whole mess. So I said, this doesn't work. I don't know, I'll try some different things. I tried some of everything as wooden mallets to try to get it softer on the drum. And I could not get it. And one day I said, you know what? I have an old bicycle with a cone over there with an old rotten inner tube. I'm going to cut that inner tube and I'm going to wrap the sticks. And ladies and gentlemen, kids, I did that in 1943. It was recorded in Trinidad Archive. Ellie Mannette wrapped the 4 sticks in 1943. I cut the rubber in my tube, and I wrapped the stick for the first time. And from the time I did that, it revolutionized the whole pack that you were getting from the wooden mallets. And of course, today, we have developed, we don't use this anymore, this is still too much. Today we develop surgical tube and gum rubber and latex rubber and a lot of different things that we use today for cushion and softness. Of course, it grew gradually. Now, so here we are, we developed all these single instruments, the boom, the bass guitar, and the single second, the single lead. Then we still had no bass drum. We still was one note bass, one note. Then a gentleman by the name of Neville Jew, he came and he introduced a 4-note bass out of what they call a caustic soda drum. So we have the doo-doo still going, the bass still going, the boom still going, the melody's playing, the second part is going, the guitar is going, but we have no bass line. So this guy by the name of Devil Juice came and he bought a bass drum. And he bought him one drum called caustic soda, very light, very like a trash can, but it's a light, and then hang it around your neck. And he could 4 notes. And he says, small. And the notes that he put on the drums, the first 4 notes they created in bass line was a G, an A, a C, and a D. Those are the 4 notes that he put in place. G, A, C, D. And the G note was the low note you have to be cleft by now, G. And the A above, the C above, and the D above. So that's really sound like it's not a great song, but rather than having that, now you get a bass note begin to play. So you could see the transformation, how the instrument begin to develop. And that's the story. Let me say this to you. There's nowhere that you can go to dispute my story. I lived it. I did not read it from a text. I did not read it from a catalog or somebody taught me about it. I lived it. I lived it from 11 years old. So I'm telling you exactly what it is. And you can take my story, you'll have it on documentation here. And you could run with it anywhere. There's no one to stand in front of me to criticize that story. So ladies and gentlemen, kids, this was the boom. One note, this was the rhythm. And all the other patterns I show you, then you arrive at this. It sounded pretty good at the time. Then I took it from that. The gentleman who did this one drum, he did it from a different type of caustic soda. And I took it from there. I said, okay, that's a caustic soda drum, which is very thin and like a garbage wrap. It cracks up in no time. I say, I'm going to build a steel drum bass and add number. So in 1950, I was coached by someone too. In 1950, I built 3 barrels for bass set. 3 of them, 1, 2, 3 drums to play 3 bass barrels. And I created the bass instrument from that time on. And then as a result of that, I developed from 3 notes to 4 to 4 to 5, 5 to 6. And the bass as the family began to grow in quality and number of barrels. So you could see a trend of how this began from 1935 to 1945. It came from 1946, 1947, 1948, 1949. And that's how it began to grow. And I went to England, and this was 1945. So all of these here, all of these on this trash here, on the ground here was from 1935, 35 to about 1944. 1935 to 44. This came in 45. That came in 46. This came in 47. This came in 48. This came in 49. And that's how the outcome grew. It just gradually grew. And if somebody said, hey, did you set out to create the instrument? No. We didn't set out to create it. We could not. We could not see. Today I have some drums in my home. It's the state of the art. And you hear them play, you would never believe. And one of these days I'll come, invite myself to Mahler School and I'll come to give you guys a concert. I play all by myself to let you hear what the state of the art instrument is. You would never believe it. I play in Canada, I play in Washington, D.C., all the congressmen, the senators, and all the people are playing around the country, around the nation, are playing in Canada, everywhere, that instrument, a couple of them that I have. And it's mind-boggling, the tonal quality, the depth, the focus, the temperament, the overtone, character, everything. And I build them with my own hand. I have used no automation or nothing. We should talk a little bit about, after a while, I'm going to bring these guys up to give you a pattern of the rhythm. But let me talk a little bit about where we're going from here. As you see, we started from 1935, no mistakes about it, 1935. And no mistakes. And as I mentioned, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, keep moving. 1952, I decided to move the second pattern.
Pardon me, just an interruption. Chris Spidey to the office, please. Chris Spidey to the office, please. Thank you.
I moved the second time from 1 down to second 2, the one you played today. I created a double second in 1952. And I needed more, my mind really got developed now as to what I want to do. So I said, okay, I only have one guitar. It can't play very much. So I want another guitar to go with that. So I put 2. Another one, in fact. So we have 2 guitars. We have 2 seconds. A little bit later, in 1954, 55, I created a triple guitar. I put 3 guitars instead of 2. I started with 1, and then I had to put another one to make 2, and then I put another one to make 3. So now I have the voice of the guitar with 3. And I find it's a kind of a shortened voice, tone-wise. It doesn't carry beautiful lines of like a Peugeot. It's cut too short and stuck. Boom. So I said, what do I do to have something like a real cello player? You know, boom, 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 boom. I hear the cello, I love the cello in the symphony orchestra. And I said, what do I do to create a cello? What do I do? I said, okay, well maybe if I take the same drum and I give it volume length, it will sustain more. That's how I think. And I said, okay, let's somebody said, what are you doing now, Ellie? I said, I'm going to create another voice for the guitar, and I call it a cello because I want its more sustenance. And I took the cello, I took the same dimension of the guitar, I got 3 drums, and I started to work on it for the cello. And I brought it back out in 1958. And when people heard the cello for the first time, they said, oh my God, I can't believe this instrument. It sounds like more like a real string instrument. So now here my mind began to develop more and more. I said, okay, I have all of these instruments, but now I have a bass drum that is way down here, and the cello is up here. I want a voice in between there. And I said, what do I put in between? I have a lead and second and guitar and cellos and I have bass, boom. But then there's a big gap in between the cello and the bass. So I started wondering, I said, well, maybe if I make a higher bass, which is higher than the cello, but low than the big bass drum, I would have a voice in between. So I came up with the tenor basses in 1959. And that was my last creation until recently when I became quadrant. But anyway, so therefore I brought in the tenor bass. And you know, it was such a strange thing that when I put the drums on the paper, when I laid them out in the barrel, I automatically create augmented, and I really wasn't thinking about that. And everybody come to me and say, you know, that was augmented on the tenor bass. I said, what are you talking about augmented? What's that? You know, things like that, because I really couldn't believe that I had created these musical tones on each, like the guitar, like the cello. When I did, but easy in fact, when I developed these things by guess, I developed respectively diminished chords. And I never knew that I would put in diminished chord. I put B diminished, D diminished, F diminished, A flat diminished in 1. C diminished, E flat diminished, F sharp and A in 1. C sharp and E and G and B flat in 1. I would never ever think about that. But it came out. And what I would say, like, you might believe this, I don't know if you will or not, I dreamt the cello. I was so obsessed with my thinking about the art form that I wanted this voice to play like a real cello. And I laid in my bed and said, what do I do to make this thing play? I try everything, I ruin everything that I try. So I decided, and I went to bed. And in the middle of the night, about 2 o'clock in the morning, I got up, and I'm seeing a drum in front of me. I see the cello playing as ever. The length, the sky, the measurement of the notes, and I just jumped right up over the bed. And I run over the table and I started scratching it on paper. And I went up to work next day. I was learning trade in a machine shop. And I'm working the paper in my hand, and I'm looking at this thing like this. I got to build this drum. And then the next weekend, after I come from work, I hunt around and I find 3 barrels, and I did what I had in the dream, and what I saw, and I made the cello and the stick up to now. Today, what I created in 1959, they are the same drum today. And people are amazed that when I say I dreamt it, I saw it. I saw the notes, I saw the length, I saw everything. And I said, oh, you better be kidding. I said, well, I don't know if I can prove any differently, but I know what I'm saying. And these are some of the things that I've done. And today I've done a new instrument we call the quaduet. And it's the most beautiful instrument to hear. It's like a double second pan. And it plays along the bass line, it plays in the soprano, and plays with the same stick, a small stick for that matter. A stick that is no bigger than about that. And people say, how can you play the bass with this? But it's tuned in such a way, ladies and kids, that you play high notes way up high, C and G and the above middle C, and yet you go down, boom, and the bass is the same thing. So that's the quad duet which I've done now. But that's finished. A couple of years ago, I've done it in my last, not a couple of years, quite a while, 1996. 96 was the last creation that I had. Today, I think I'm doing my last creation, which I feel that I will not do anymore for the rest of my career, the rest of my life. Because every man has a limitation. Every man has a vision and a certain amount of ability, capability. And you can only take a subject, an object from here to there. And after you get that point, you are blind. You cannot go anymore. You cannot see anymore. Your mental ability is not good, will take you any further. So when you come to that plateau, and you're finished with your figure out with the picture, the young people like you guys will take my picture from this line and they're going to move it forward. And as any other line of work and any line of invention or anything that you do, somebody starts from there and they go to here, and the young people are going to move it forward. And I said to people, I think I have come to the end of my creative ability. I cannot see any more that I can really do. I've seen it for 60 years, and I don't know if I can see anymore. But before I stop, I'm going to bring one more lead. It's not really a creation. It's just an advancement to the lead that we have. We have the spider web that starts from low C, and it goes up to G above that, C to C to C to the G above. And I make a big fan that goes down from the G on the middle C. So it goes from G to G to G to G, and goes chromatic all the way up. The low G, that is the low G on the second fan, which is this G down here. That's the G on the second fan. And that G is not on the lead is all the way up. The lead is all the way up here. So he starts from that C. And the second fan down here. Well, that lead I'm building starts from there, and it goes 4 G, 3 G's above that. G, 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 G. And that's about, I think, as far as I go with my career. And I want to pass my skills on to the young people. I work with countless colleges, universities across the nation, academies and elsewhere. And at my university, I teach at West Virginia University. I'm there for the last 13 years. I'm faculty at the Division of Music. I teach the steel band program. And we arrange, and I help arrange the music for it. I write songs, I build and construct steel drum. And among the university campus, I have the college has given me the opportunity to develop my own entrepreneurial affairs within the university complex. So the University Division of Music, which I am under, I'm also under another umbrella of the university we call Research and Development. And under that umbrella, we now build a company we call Mannette Steel Drum. Mannette Steel Drum. You can see it on the web. And the university has sponsored and helped us underwrite a lot of money for us to grow. And the university has equity into the program. And it's the only college in the whole of the United States has undertaken such a thing. I came into the campus as a simple layman. I don't know who, Ellie Mannette. They called me in, joined the faculty. And from the time we reached, the president, Kathy, called Kathy and I in and said, what can we do at this university to make it better for you? And from that time on, the president has changed. And from one president to the other, we have had a major support from the faculties, top faculty all the way down. Provosts, engineers, deans, chairs, everybody. And it made me feel good to know that I have worked hard to develop this trash can into what we have. And a major university has undertaken me under their wings and made me a major faculty on that campus. We have a $25,000 student body, and you will look at the college papers, and it will say West Virginia University is the home of Ellie Mannette, and you know it makes you feel good to know that a major campus could think about you like that. You know, campus should look at the papers, the university papers, Ellie Mannette, the home of West Virginia University, and that kind of thing. But I work hard for a case, and I'm hoping to pass my skills on. And I hope by the end of my career, I will have lived to see that the people that I have trained has taken the skills that I give them and move it forward, past what I have ever thought about doing, move it forward for the future. I always say to my students, they're all bright, master's degree, doctorate degree, all of them in my class in college here. And I will say to them, I expect all of you to do the instrument better than I have did it. You are just 25 years old, you are just 24, you are just 30, you are whatever, and you're bright, you're great musicians, you have a degree in all kind of different musical levels, doctoral degree of music education, performances, composition, all kind of different things. And they enter my class, so I know they are great musicians. And with the idea and the hearing and the ability that they have and the desire to do it, I expect them to build it from better than me. And if I don't accomplish that, I will feel that I have failed in my whole venture into the purpose of the art form if I don't accomplish having the young people to do it better than I did. Because I have accomplished everything that a simple person can accomplish. As I mentioned, I got honorary from the Queen of England, from the United Nations, from the Smithsonian, from the Metropolitan Museum of Art, from the Contemporary Art Gallery, from the Golden Key, from the White House, from the Senate, from the, I think this year I have been put in the Hall of Fame, and I did everything, and I accomplished all these goals, but I don't feel satisfied until I can pass my skills on to the young people. If that doesn't happen, all the awards and my wall of awards doesn't mean a thing. I want to pass my skills on. So I don't think I can say much more than that right now. If I bring the kids up and
Sure.
if you want to,
What we'll do, we'll let you take a little drink with some water here.
you all understand what I'm saying. I talk very fast. Is it okay that I'm not speaking too fast, right? Not at all. At one time I speak extremely fast when I first came to the country. And you say, Ellie, you gotta slow down. Because my accent is not the same as you, number one. And then speaking fast, it is a little bit more difficult for you. So I'm hoping that you understand what I'm saying.
Okay, what I thought we could do is that if we could bring maybe 6 chairs up, 6 people to go with the chairs, and maybe line you up like right here, and we'll start with the pre-melody instruments. Each of you take one of the drums, and Ellie will go down the line and let you know how
But they can do
the
good or
rhythms.
bad, because you
Okay, so if I can have
Can we have some of the people that have been in it the longest? I think that's only fair to Jordan, CJ, Lee, Micaiah, Carly, Ashley. Help me out, guys. How many we have there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Who else? Matt. Okay, come up with a chair. We'll do it just first. Doing great, Alex. No, but I have a question. Okay. You made the first time
41.
Yeah, the first, the 46, you saw 65 gallons.
But I want to tell you what, 41, I want to get because before that, all the contacts, they were thinking about But this whole belly has been here now. It was over and went like this.
Right. Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah.
I saw it.
Now we were bending like this. Yeah. That's what we do. But then I think he has accomplished by okay, now. This one is the hardest one. This here is the hardest one. Because this one will go something like that, like this. Hardest one.
Who wants to jump on the hard one? Yeah, doing on the hard one.
You said you were doing exactly the same. What else?
And who is doing? How do I do? So Ellie will hand that.
It's right here. A simple one with this same rhythm here in the islands. We have about 10 different ways to play that because we're born into it, so therefore we again. On the down with me. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right. Down. Yes. 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 Right. Keep going. Right. Listen to me. Just keep there. You just keep there. Try it again. Head down. Somebody do this. You can do this. Anybody. Anybody can do it. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, let me show you different patterns. Easy. Easy. Right. You keep a constant beat here. Down, down there. See? Right? Try that. Keep this constant and quick. Snap it. Good. Yes. Right. 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 And you and the drum and the boom also, you and the doing this 24 hours a day. And that's what creates a nuisance. Because I'm just showing you the simplest rhythm that I can show you to get it on the CD. But bear in mind that we have what we call, this is a kettle drum. We have kettle drum 1 and kettle drum 2 and kettle drum 3. Each carries a different rhythm pattern that interwove. We have duduk 1 and duduk 2. We have bass kick 1 and bass kick 2. And all of these different rhythms interwove into each other. And when you hear the rhythm band play, it kind of haunts you. It's very haunting to hear it in a funny hour at night. Or day you're passing, you hear the boys, and and they drive it with them, and what they use with it, they use bottles and spoons. They fill about 19 bottle or whiskey bottle, whatever, and they
Coke
fill it
bottles
up.
for you guys.
They fill it up in different levels of water, and according to the level of the water, it changes the sound of the bottle. And they're hitting all the time while this is playing. And from the bottle and spoon, they turn into steel brake drums. So all that kind of is a progression that took place. Now, this was the mere idea of from 1935 to about 1940, 41. Then this began to come in. So let's play some more here. I get it on, and then the ping pong goes. Well, you can't play much of it. Just there's a few notes, you know, that's what I can give you as a rhythm to keep with them. I'm not going to try to give you a melody, you know. Okay. Yeah. Okay, give me a rhythm again. Again. Start again. Everybody in the dawn. Boom. One more time. Let me get it rid of it. One more time. Go. And the down. And 2, 3, 4. Now, these kids here represented what we did as kids in Trinidad in 1935 to about 1945. That's exactly what you hear in Pania. You pass up and down the highway, and there are 20 bands in different areas of the country, and they're keeping this racket all the time. And just bear in mind that this is the racket that creates what we have today. A very humble beginning, and it blossomed into a very unique instrument, one of a kind. Now, this faded out in 1945. In 1946, as I mentioned, they had been recreated because you have to learn the notes. 1946, the ping pong came in. 1947, the single second. 1948, the guitar. 1949, the groove. So the musical instrument began to play. And then that era we call pan around the neck because they don't sit and play them anymore. They march the street with them with a strap around the necks, and they walk all over the street with carnival. So you have the lead, second, guitar, and one bass. And that's about how the album really blossomed into what we have. I did not set out to create the instrument we have today. I could not possibly do it. But by creating these instruments, we have what we have. And it's one of the most unique instruments in the 20th century. I was called to Washington last year, and I was given an honorary again for the people who came to the United States as foreigners and had an impact on American life. And that's what the award I got in November.
What was that again?
The one that I got in Washington for the
National Endowment for the Arts?
No, the other one.
Um,
The awards of the Remember what the big convention event?
Oh, that's right.
All assemblymen and Congress
Exactly.
people and
Yes.
senators and
That was last year.
last year. And I said the people as foreigners who came to the United States and had an impact on American life. And I was one of those people because I'm a foreigner. I came here and I have had an impact on American life. But right now I'm looking, look at you kids. You understand? Your interest, whether you ever adopted the instrument or not, you will hear the name Ellie Mannette. You remember? Oh yeah. I met that person one time. I know who he is. And that goes on from college to academy to academy. So what I said to you, I gave up an education to develop an instrument. And I don't regret because I work for tens of thousands of young people like you. And I feel very humble when I come to look at you and how you enjoy my work. I feel good about that. So Ellie Mannette has done this part for the 20th century. And I don't know where it's going to go in this century yet. Everybody said you have developed the only acoustical instrument as a family they've developed in the last 100 years or more. Acoustical instrument, all of a family of percussive sound. I have developed that for the world to enjoy. And I say to people like this, sometimes as humble as I can say, as humble as I can put it to you or anyone, there's no denying of the fact. I made the first one as a result of creating an instrument for the world to enjoy. And I can play with a great deal of humility and pride. I have developed an instrument for the world to enjoy. There's no way around it. I don't care who came with any other statement to you, who did what, let them prove it to you. I have, simple as I can say, with humility and pride, I have given to the world a musical instrument in this century, the last century. And today, we hope it's going to blossom in the world for you young people, young and old, to enjoy. So thanks again.
All right, and what we'll do before we stop completely is, those of you, thank you for being our pre-band, the pre-melody band. We're going to let you stay and actually be an example. Ellie, we'd like for you to go, even though we're not going to let a group come on and work with the melody instruments, but let's have him hold the instrument and you show them how they are supposed to hold these instruments. Okay, so the rest of you, you can put yours down and thank you. But let's go. And you, and what's your name? Matt? Okay, Matt, why don't you join us? Let's put it around Matt. So you can see what we
One of the things that you always remember in a steel drum, don't put the drum like this, because the nose is going to hit the ground, whatever, and you're going to knock the nose off.
Matt, if you could come over here.
Yeah, well, at the time when we were using these drums, we hold it like that.
Let Matt put it on his.
We hold it like that. And sometimes we put a little hook on it here to catch it on your belt. Because sometimes we parade in the street it will slip down. So sometimes I put a little hook on it here and clip your belt with it so it stays up on your belt all the time. And they play. But right now we just have a temporary affair. You understand what I'm saying? You're marching the street of Port Spain like this, and you play this is going down. So we put a little hook on it. Somebody put a little hole right there, and we put a little hook on it and put it in your belt right here. So it stays here all day. You know, I made the sticks exactly as they were in 1946, 47, exactly hard. Now what I do for Mara, if she want to play a different cushion or any kind of the thing she might want to do a little recording of these drums, I can also send her some tips to go over these caps, which is more what we use today, of surgical tubing of gum or latex. And it will go over these caps and it sounds very soft, like that. But I made it especially how it was at the time. Yeah, but I give her the rubber to play softer. And I do that for her, so if you guys want to play with a softer, I like to do it in two ways. You can show the public when you go out in an audience, you can show the public what it was really with harshness. And then you put the caps on the other tip. You can put it on the other side and play with a softer mallet. And they say, okay, it becomes this now. So that is what I'm going to do. So this is how they march the street. And this now was the second time strumming chords while he's playing the melody. This guy's playing the chords to go with him. He played the chords to go with the melody. And of course, it was a big thing at the time. That was where the guitar came in. And of the guitar is held the same way. And of course, whatever, at the time we play some song with 2 or 3 chords. Now you can play a song with 1 million chords. At the time, we played very simple folk song. And you pick 2 chords, a G chord, a D chord, a A chord, maybe a C chord, and that's it. So we have the drum appropriately built, especially to accommodate those songs. And then the 4-note bass, as you can see, same thing with wires on it again.
We're gonna let Matt.
Yeah.
Hold it down. You can put that one down. Ellie's gonna show you how to hold the bass.
So like this one there. Put it over your shoulder, the strap. Strap it here.
On the strap.
Put it over your shoulder and kind of relax. It goes like this. It goes like that. It doesn't go like with one shoulder. It goes like that. And sometimes we have another strap that comes around your neck. Like this. With one hand. And it was not this kind of barrel. This barrel is very heavy. The barrel that we used at the time was caustic soda. And I cannot find that anymore, so I just tried to recreate.
But you put it around your shoulders so you demonstrate how
You
to
can put it around here for that matter. On one side, yeah. Yeah, like that. That's how it was at the time. That's it. And you march the street and you're playing the note. You get that coming up the road, you're surprised to know a nice song at the time. Like that, you understand? The color is going, and this crazy song is going over there, but this is the bass and that's it right there. And then iron and going, bottle and spoon and rhythm is going like crazy to accompany that. Now it's real bass note, except it's not beautifully tuned, but it's playing a bass. It's playing a bass sound. But before we had this, was everything was one beautiful way, one note, boom, boom, boom. And this came in 1949. So you could see a picture of what we painted here today. There's a gradual growth of the art form into the symphony we have. It took 50 years to develop. Trial and error, the obsession, the dedication, must do it. That was my whole philosophy, I must do it. I gave up training in London, formal education, I gave up a scholarship to come home to play on trash can. Well, I made it work. And don't do what I did. You finish your school. That's what I think.
All right, Ellie, thank you. Well, thank you all. We have a little more time on. Are there questions that maybe we didn't? I think he did go over some of the ones about the instruments.
It's up to you guys, I have time.
That was on the list.
And we are going to have to do some video shots too.
Or just shots.
Maybe, one thing I would like to do is if we can get the chairs out of the way and maybe set the drums up. I don't know if we can get it all in, and then all the steel band members come up here and get a shot with Ellie.
Yeah.
But guys, if you get the thanks, guys.
You or anyone, the cedar is invented by Spree Simon or by Ellie Mannette or anyone else. It was not invented. It's an art form that evolved. Today, we come to the 50-year hence since I've made the first one, and I'm looking to take it further, or maybe the people that I'm teaching around the country, I expect them to take it further. I expect them to take it to a threshold where science will be included. As I say to people, the piano, the grand piano did not begin where it is today. 500 years of developing. The violin and every other form of instrument there, 500 and 300 years to develop. The steel drum is only 50 years old. And we will develop into the future, I'm certain about it. And what before I will retire, of course, I will pass away, but I would like my work to live. My legacy should continue for the future. It should continue by the young people that I've trained. I expect them to take it further into the scientific arena, for it to take its place into the symphonies of the world in a proper form, to be respected, not only as a percussive instrument for folk music, but for an instrument which is equivalent to any other in a conventional orchestra. I really would like that to happen, whether I am here in existence or not. That's my vision for the steel band. The vision for the steel band is take its own place in the symphonies of the world. And that's about all I can say. Any other questions anybody want to ask about it? But I do feel that I have done my part, and every man, as I said, has a limitation. And where I would like it to go, as I said, into the symphonies, and I leave science to the government or whoever, have to invest money into the research of the instrument. because I know as much as I can know about the drums, and most of the people that I work with across the country, the young people, they know as much as they can know about the instrument. But when it comes to the scientific and the technology, the technical part of it, metallurgy and the chemistry, the physics and the engineering part of it, we don't know. Science has to be included so we can improve this marvelous instrument. There are certain characteristics about a steel drum which is unique. It's the only instrument that is made from one solid mass. One solid mass. There is no bones and wood and felt and nothing attached. The steel drum as a whole is made from one solid mass with all notes attached to each other. And also, the skirt plays the drums as well as the face. The skirt is the barrels, the side. So everything that functions with a steel drum functions on one whole solid mass. Nothing is added. It's the only other instrument. It cannot be duplicated or copied by any other form of orchestra. Many a time, you might hear a steel band, an orchestra might play on stage or on a record, and a steel drum will come in and play two lines, and somebody says, oh, there's a steel drum in there. But it is so distinct among any other instrument. And that's about one advantage to the after. We don't need amplification to any extent. We are self-amplified. We project well, and they are durable. They hold tune very well. So we have a great deal of advantages, and not only the community of the world today enjoy the steel bands and the family of the art form. Thanks, sir.
Now, if you could just hold real still, he's going to zoom right in on you, okay? If you could just hold real still.
My glasses off?
Why don't try it both ways?
Students, as you see them today or tomorrow, please take the time to tell them.
How about if we take the glasses off and try it? Let's try that.
Thought we had a great homecoming week.
So, can you do it?
I could
That's
say a
as
lot
far as
more,
it
you
goes.
know, we are today advanced from the United States, and we have established quite a quick community in Europe. But for that matter, I was invited as a special guest to do a lecture in a major coliseum in France last year, and people from all over Europe traveled to hear my lecture, and they came from Finland, from Germany, from Switzerland, from Norway, from Poland, England, and they all come to this big coliseum, and I did the mayor of the city presented me on stage to this audience, and I spoke about what I've done and the culture which is growing around the world today, and I was very thankful to be honored here today, and they gave me a nice award here in England and France for what I have presented to Europe, and these are some of the things I've been doing. And one major thing I did at my university, I was working, and the phone rang, and somebody said, the BBC broadcasting is on the phone to me. So I came to the telephone and I said, hello, and the person said, Mr. Mannette, this is the publisher, the broadcasting manager of the BBC, and I would like to do a live broadcast with you over the network. And I said, how could I do something like that? And he said, well, are you interested or not? So I said, yes, I am interested. So they made arrangement, and they took me up from my home, somebody, and they took me to a radio station, some part of West Virginia, and they hooked up a bunch of phones in my ear, and I heard the gentleman say, Ellie Mannette, this is the BBC, are you hearing me clearly? I said, of course, very clear. And he said, your program is going to run for 32 minutes over the network, and this is what I want you to do for us. And I did a live broadcast over the BBC network and it run worldwide. And during the course of the program, he came, I heard a voice say to me, Ellie, our computer's readout is telling us that you are being observed by 43 million people. And like that. And shortly after that, I started getting calls from all around the world, from Australia, from Israel, from Germany. I heard you on the BBC last night. And so I did a lot for the art form. I hope that I will see it go further before I retire, I passed away. But I know I've done my part. I've created a great legacy for myself. Integrity means more than money. I say that to them all the time. Professionalism and integrity means more than money. Do the best job you could. Don't give anybody something that you know is not right, and put it in their mind that it's a good job. Don't do that. If you fail, let them know that you failed and you would like to replace it at some given time, or you'll try to do it better another time. But don't ever try to give anybody a story which is not true. That is not professional. So I say professionalism and integrity means more to me. My name means more. And I'll say to my students also, I'm teaching all of you, and you're sending my drums out to different colleges and high schools, and I'll be damned if I let you take my name down. Whenever you send a product out of here, it has to represent Ellie Mannette, and not what you want to send out. And I do that, I say that, and they could tell you that, and they love me for that, because they realize that I seek their interest to be a professional. And all the college kids for the entire university. And that's what I do for the campus, and I brought a lot of notoriety to campus. And the president right back down knows that. So they give me a lot of freedom and flexibility on campus of what I have done for that university. And they have also done a lot for me. So that's about some of my story, of course. It go on forever, but that's some of
Ellie, we just have a couple minutes before the bell rings, and guys, what do you think? I really appreciate Ellie coming.